are you, my fascinating Renaissance friends? Welcome to episode 84. Okay, what do you think would happen if a person, would wake up every single day, okay, open or tune in the news and would hear messages like this or news like this? Well, Wall Street says that the collapse of the stock world has begun. People are scrambling in the streets, selling their stocks because the stock market is in collapse. And Fox News say that there is a lot of people grumbling and grumbling against what's happening in America, the actions of the president, etc. The Republicans say one thing, the Democrats say one thing. In the Philippines, you have two camps. Okay, the camp of our former president, who was supposedly, in quotation marks, kidnapped by ICC and brought to The Hague, and others are saying it's because of the work of the opposition and things like that. What do you think will happen, to the mind of this person who is bombarded by these kinds of news? What do you think? Do you think this person will be able to really calm down and draft and define what a meaningful life should be? Huh? You think so? All right. This statement really hit me hard. And I suppose, I guess this is aha moment number 9. It says the things you do consistently define who you become. The things you do consistently define who you become. All right? So if we are subject, or if we are bombarded, by negative news every day, are we going to be calm, or are we going to be a nervous wreck? Right? That's another statement that follows that. It says, you become what you focus on. All right? So are we still going to believe, in stock markets? Are we going to say, see, I told you, you tell your friends who are really very good at stock trading, it says, yeah, useless to buy some stocks because because it's gonna collapse, the economic system is not good, etc., etc., etc. Okay? It says you become what you focus on. Alright, so what happens? Alright, so what happens? This is what happens, of course, no? But what do we need to do? Okay, the third sentence in the article that I was reading says, protect your peace at all costs. So how do you do that? How do you really protect your peace at all costs? Because sure, it can be true that there's bloodbath out there because some stocks are falling, okay, and some people invest on a lot of stocks. It's also very true that there are some things going on. It could be true, or maybe it's just fake news, who knows? Okay, so what can we do? It says here, protect your peace at all costs. How okay? And so it says here, mental clarity isn't about constant stimulation. It's about strategic application. Let me repeat that. Okay, we're talking about the mind, right? We have to protect ourselves at all costs. Protect our mental health, protect our emotional health, protect our physical health at all costs. We start first, with who we become, and then we become, okay, what we focus on. Okay, it says mental clarity, for us to think very clearly, isn't about constant stimulation. Okay, it's about strategic application. Okay, so what do you mean by that? You mean we will not listen to the news anymore? I'm not saying that, because we must know what's really happening in the world. We cannot be like ostriches, like an ostrich which buries their head on the ground because they don't want to hear bad news. There will always be bad news, guys. There will always be bad news. And the bad news can be very, very real. And it could affect our finances. It could affect our health, okay? So what are we saying here? It says here, prioritize what brings you calm over what brings you conflict. Okay? So it says here, prioritize what brings you calm. Maybe we should listen to what? We should listen to, the kind of achievements mankind, has achieved in the past 10 to 20 years. Well, maybe we should focus on, on the contribution of certain people, in the development of technology, so we can have YouTube, so we can have AI, so we can have this and we can have that. Technology is good. It is really how we use it. We can use it for bad or we can use it for good. I mean, okay, why if we focus on those things, it will actually bring us hope, okay, and we calm down. So we prioritize those things instead of those things which causes conflict. Okay? It says here, so how do we go about that? It says discipline. We have to discipline what we consume, what we read, even if we read good and bad. Okay, we decide, we choose where we will focus on, what we will continue to think about, because it says here, a chaotic mind cannot create a meaningful life. We're trying to create a good life, isn't it? Really? Okay, if we have a chaotic mind, we cannot do that. And we will have a chaotic mind if we focus on the things, which bring us conflict, which bring us anxiety. Okay? So discipline isn't punishment, or it isn't something that forces you to do things you don't like disciplining a child, because a child, wants to go out and he could be killed with onrushing vehicles, because he's just 5 or 6 years old. He doesn't want to be disciplined, But for mature people like us, discipline is self-respect in action. We have to decide what kind of garbage we will not allow, to rob us of sleep, of peace, and all these things that will affect us. Alright? So I guess, aha moment number 9, which happens to be, okay, this last episode for April. The last episode for April is the things you do consistently define who you become, and you become what you focus on. So therefore, protect your peace at all costs. And mental clarity is not about constant stimulation. It's about strategic application. Why? Because a chaotic mind cannot create a meaningful life. So prioritize what brings us calm over what about things which bring us conflict, and we need discipline for that. It isn't punishment. It is self-respect in action. Okay? So, all right. This is our last episode for April, and stay tuned. For the month of May, and we will continue with our themes. Different themes for different months, and we started in January. Now will be new beginnings. Why? Because it's the beginning of the year, and we came up with options. To make sure that our plans, have a higher possibility of being achieved. Okay, more options other than coming up with the old-fashioned New Year's resolution. And then February, our theme, was birthdays, because my husband, me, and my unica hija have celebrated their birthdays in February, and we went through a deeper meaning, okay, of what birthdays mean for people. And then March, we talk about abundance, abundant thinking, what is a rich life, really. We continue with that this April, it's about what renewal, okay, aha moments, discoveries that we didn't think about before, very, very simple realizations that we call aha moments to guide us, to really, really deepen deepen our idea of a good life. And by June, stay tuned. What will be the theme for June? Oh, I'm excited to begin June, really. All right. If you like what you hear and what you've been learning, in all of our episodes, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you will not miss any of our, up and coming episodes. All right. Until then, if you, I would truly appreciate your insights on what you have learned so far. Let's engage. Let's engage, and in the comments below, write. What personal takeaways have you learned, and what other topics you want us to talk about to guide us in navigating the autumn of our life, which is really the best years of our life. Until then, this is your fellow sojourner, your life coach and your mentor, and I'll be seeing you next episode, which is the beginning of May. Until then, goodbye.